Okay, it's been like several months, and as of now, it's 2024. First of all, Happy New Year to you guys if you didn't get one from me. Normally, I have a couple of videos that should be available on YouTube later this month, but I feel that this is kind of an emergency, especially like around 11:12 in the evening on January 2nd, 2024. I'm Show 60, and for those of you who've seen a lot of my speed paints, the main software of choice that I use is Clip Studio Paint, which I'm going to say is one of the best pieces of art software ever. My Wildcard Fighter manga also has been used by also has been made with Clip Studio Paint. I've never been so celebratory about a piece of software quite like Clip because it's amazing. It's a wonderful application, and now it is expanded not just on computers, but also on tablets and cell phones, and similar mobile devices. Now, this is where my praise for the software and the company reaches its limit because there was something that I found out several months ago when my family internet was shut down for more than 3 weeks to almost a month. So after 15 days of using Clip Studio Paint offline, because at the time of this video I'm currently using version 2.0.6, I realized that something was amiss. Now, to be fair, this was something I didn't too much pay attention to because version 2 contained a lot of cool brand new bells and whistles. Seeing as though that this is an experimental upgrade until version 3.0 and 4.0 come along, the former of which later this year. So, to drive the point home, I realized that I was unable to utilize Clip Studio Paint entirely, as I was forced to do a demonstration. No, I was forced to utilize the trial version, which is only reserved for people who just want to test run it for free. So, I'm forced to use the demo version of Clip Studio Paint, which is ridiculous considering that I paid not only for the software since 2017, but I also bought the upgrade for it, version 2.0. And version 2.0 truly showed its true colors as a provisional upgrade, or rather a experimental upgrade. That's the word I'm looking for. Because from a lot of the complaints I've seen online, there were a lot of bugs. One of which was for tablet monitor users, or just tablet users, just drawing tablet users in general. Pen pressure has stopped working, so they created an upgrade for that. And then people started realizing that if they go offline for more than a day, and this was with version 2, this is for below version 2.0.3, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. That they can't go past a day without being online, so it's always online entirely. So what they did was fix the situation for offline users of the Perpetual license version. Now, keep this in mind, I'm clearly talking about Perpetual license because, one, that was the license that I purchased and have been purchasing for quite some time. That's not changing no time soon. I say that lightly. And two, this is not for subscription users. But then again, just to be safe, if you got a subscription plan for Clip Studio, then I think this is something you need to listen to. Because if you're going for over a month without it, without online use, then you're just as screwed too. And that being said, after 15 days of use with version 2.0.3 or higher, users now have 15 days. And this was documented not just by the official team, but also by Reddit users who did their numbers on it, who did their experiment on it. And some people have enabled this because for them, they have unlimited online use so long as they pay their internet bill, which is fine. But unfortunately, and I really hate to be that guy when I say this, not everybody is able to pay their bills on time when it comes to the internet. And sometimes circumstances does that. It is not just bill payments or anything for internet use. It's also like severe weather, natural or other natural disasters. Some deal with earthquakes, tsunamis, or just random blackouts for not just a week, but 2 weeks, 3 weeks, almost practically a month. And it's not professionals that are the only ones that are investing in this software either. It's also hobbyists who have part-time jobs or other side hustles as well that take a liking to the software, and they're being gypped by being locked out of it. And the only way that they can do this is if they have an extra device that has the software, whether you have a tablet or one laptop or so. Like, you have to go to a library, coffee shop, or any place with free Wi-Fi in order to get back. But then when you go home and work them long hours, after a certain amount of time has passed, it still becomes a problem because you can't authenticate so easily. The fact that you have to perform all these gymnastics just to use your software that, in the case of Perpetual users like myself, is literally ours, that we paid hundreds of dollars for, makes no sense at all. And this is just not right. It's anti-consumer. It's also one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of cloud gaming, because you're buying a game that is supposed to be yours, but you can't play it like you want to in an ideal setting for one or two reasons, assuming that you're in my situation. Number one, the internet connection is inadequate. Two, circumstances forbid constant internet use. And three, if the cloud messes up, so does your game. And chances are you might have to start from scratch, which means a lot of your life's work is either reset or completely bugged. These are factors to really take into consideration. So the point is, over-reliance on online usage of anything, least of all Clip Studio Paint, doesn't really work in the long run, especially in its experimental phases, especially at a time where not everybody can afford long-lasting internet use. And for us Perpetual license users, it makes no sense to have something and not be able to use it at all. It really doesn't add up. Like, even if you have a side job or things like that, then all of a sudden the internet is kaput for 15 days or so, or more. Now what? Then what? These are things that companies like Celsius really have to take into account, because some of the people that buy their software, like, they don't subscribe to it. They don't use subscription plans. They want to buy it because they want it to be theirs. It becomes a problem because why can't I use something that I own? It makes no sense. Like, before versions 2.0, people could use it both online and offline. People had choices. But now we got this debacle, and more people have complained about it. And now here I am, and I hope I'm not alone in this when I say that I really take issue with it. Now, the reasoning behind it is safe to assume that they're trying to curb piracy and make sure that nobody tampers with the software and its inner workings. Okay, number one, when somebody puts their hard-earned money into buying your software, they decide what to do with it. Whether it's buying assets for it, whether it's buying extra assets for it, or whatever. They decide what to do with it because they paid you their money to own your software, which means it belongs to them for the rest of their life until they think otherwise. Now, I would have understood if this was a subscription plan, but that's not the case. Second, the only thing that does is encourage piracy rather than discourage it. Because with people completely locked out of it for long periods of time and don't have any viable internet options, they're going to resort to some very drastic measures, some of which would include hacked versions of your software floating around the internet. I don't want to say that this is a threat, but I'm pretty sure this has happened not just to Celsius, but also to Adobe when they decided to be exclusively subscription service. Because not everybody wants to shell out like tens to hundreds of dollars a month for software that they could have owned. So, of course, they're going to resort to downloading it for free and using it for life. Because it's just as good and far more preferable than the more recent versions. Now, if no changes are made to version 2.0 or even version 3.0 or higher, then 9 times out of 10 I might be forced to use version 1.0, which will lose support after a certain amount of time passes, which is really not fun, and I don't want to do that, especially in this age of advancing technology. And this was not good for people who are fans of digital art, because like, especially for like starving artists who took time out of their busy schedule to buy the software in the first place. It's just literally not right. So, to everyone working at Celsius, keep in mind that by the time of this video, I have paid hundreds of dollars for this software. I've supported you guys for years, since 2017. I have contacted you guys about this situation not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, but multiple times, more times than I can count, on the various platforms, on your Twitter, on your Instagram, directly onto your website. I just gave you feedback before making this video. And here's what's going to happen. Once a month I'll be making videos like these. Until you fix this practice. Until you get rid of this 15-day grace period. And just give Perpetual license users their software for them to use both online and offline without hitches. Because this is anti-consumer at the very worst. And I hope for your sake, for version 3.0, 4.0, or any other upgrade, that you do not stiff-arm Perpetual license users who really invest in your work. Because if you keep this up, eventually you will start losing money. Even with your subscription plan users, this will be much of a problem because it's going to resonate with them as well, or at least those who understand where I'm coming from with this. I know I've been rambling about this, but I do feel that there's a lot of truth to it, and as a digital artist, this is not right. Like, it really hurts people. And it might even force them to use less than satisfactory software, some of which is for free and open source, that doesn't even hold a candle to Clip Studio. And I don't want it to come to that point. Like, I've used Sketchbook and it is terrible. Like, Clip Studio is supposed to be my go-to software. And this is what you're doing. Locking anyone who dares to use version 2.0 out of the application unless they have nothing but pure always online internet access. This is unfair, this is unjust, this is anti-consumer. What more can I say about that? Now, as for the people who've been in my situation or are in my current situation right now and are tired of Celsius with these business practices, which do nothing but encourage piracy at the end of the day, what are your thoughts on it? Do you agree with what I say, or do you disagree with what I say? Let me know in the comments. I'm show 60, and I still got a lot of protesting to do. Yeah. Till next time.